bit late, do apologise. Been a lot on at the moment. It's been very sort of, life has been very hectic in a good way, in a really good way. So, because we're moving into the flat tomorrow with my daughter and what have you, and stuff like that. So that's good. It's been all sort of mayhem. Lot to talk about in today's live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. You're more than welcome to comment anytime to comment. It can be anything. It can be, it can be about sort of like the weekly readings, which have been phenomenal this week, really, and really tying in even more. Each week, it's tying even more into the messages from energy and what's going on with the vibrations and getting people into a rhythm more than anything else about sort of streamlining things and really getting on things, because it was really good. Let me just bring up the comments and stuff like that, so we can see people commenting, because I think there's people commenting already. Let me also bring it up so I can see what is going on. Hang on a second. Been a lot on at the moment. No, I need to turn that sound off. Life has been very hectic. Okay, hang on a second. Let me just turn that sound off, because that was very confusing. As you can tell, I am running late. So yes, there has been sort of messages. Hello there, comments. I can't actually see them at the moment. It's really annoying. I'm gonna just pull. Let me get myself sorted. People. I'm so sorry about this. So let me see. There we go. We got lives. Let me bring that up so that, because I need to, obviously, because I'm not a young spring chicken anymore, and I need to get my eyes a little bit more sort of clued up on what's going on. Let's just see what's going on with the messages. So, Soli, how you doing? Frisia, how you doing? Let me make that a little bit bigger so I can see what's going on. Hang on a second. There we go. Courageous Living. How you doing? Love your readings. Thank you very much, Courageous Living. It's the first time I've seen you on the live, I think. Tessa Gale, lovely to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for everything. I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing okay. I'm enjoying it anyway, and I'm engaging. Hello, everyone. Bettina, Jane, Julie. Yes, Courageous. I'm ready for love to enter my life. I'm a Capricorn. Did you see it? I think I saw your message. Yeah. Something about brown hair and blue eyes, if I remember rightly. Something along those sort of lines. So let me just. Christine, thank you very much, Christine. I'm not used to this sort of people giving donations. So thank you very much. Well, actually, I am. When I first started doing healing, like 30 years ago now, it just seems like time has flown by. Everything was via donation. So, it was, everything was via donation. People would give what they wanted to give, as it were. So Christine McKay, thank you very much. Coral, how you doing down there, down under? Absolutely lovely to see you. It's great to see everyone. I will be, I think in the future, because it's going to make it easier for our people, our friends in Australia and New Zealand, and possibly even over in America as well, in the Americas, North and South. I think we're going to start doing the lives on the Saturday night, because then it'd be a lot easier for people to get involved in it and everything like that. But anyway, look, thank you very much, Christine Mackay, for that. Shirley, hello Shirley, how you doing? It's good to see everybody. Wow, absolutely fantastic. Yes, so the weekly readings this week. One thing I want to talk about, because I did a little video today, I don't know whether if you all saw that, about the flare that came off of the sun. And Jane asked the question, according to that thing that's coming through the solar system, I think it's AT3 or A3 or something like that. We will be talking a little bit about that a little bit later on, Jane. Very interesting sort of question and stuff like that. So yes, it's yeah, it's we'll talk about that in a minute. But we did have the solar flare that sort of went off. It was a long duration one, and unfortunately, I couldn't get a lot of imaging from HelioViewer, so I couldn't really see what was going on the LASCO sort of satellite, which shows us like the sun in covered over with a disk in the middle, and you can see all around the sun, so you can see this flare sort of coming towards you, and you get these speckles of white that goes across it. So I couldn't see that, unfortunately, but it was coming in our sort of direction. I think it's going to be all right for the Earth itself. I don't think the Earth is going to, obviously the Earth is going to be affected by it, of course, and I do think we'll see aurora borealis. It's quite low altitude, especially in the northern hemisphere, simply because the northern vortex, the North Pole vortex is really low at the moment towards the equator. So it's going to be allowing a lot of things coming through. I think you get it a lot less in the southern hemisphere, but we'll see. You know, and it was just all about, the thing is in the weekly readings, is that it was all about that, because the energy has changed. I don't know if everybody's noticed that. There is a certain urgency about the energy at the moment, and I think that's where things are picking up towards this sort of like conscious shift. And within that urgency of the energy, it's like we've got a lot of air, because we had a lot of flares that were going off that were not hitting the Earth, but that will be creating that air friction energy, a little bit like when you sort of do a balloon and you rub it against your head and you stick it on a wall, sort of thing. So it created that urgent energy and intuition and mental stuff, and sort of like clairvoyancy and that sort of thing, and just feeling the electricity a little bit more. And I was saying in a lot of the readings about the fire that's coming through, and this is where you can engage your passions. And if you've got all of that air and you got the fire then comes into the system, the fire can consume the air. So your passions can consume your intuition, your mental ideas of what you want to get out of life. And you know, it seems, and I did say that I think that there would be a flare hitting the Earth over the weekend. I thought it was going to be more sort of towards Saturday than Sunday, but it certainly came in on the Sunday morning. And really, it's going to be with us around about 8 o'clock UK time. So this week here, converting your ideas by being passionate about what you're doing will bring you good results, whichever way it is. Even if it's you're passionate about making a cup of tea, which I love doing, whichever you're really passionate about, you know, you've got to go with that passion. You got to follow that passion, and I think it will open a lot of doors, and it'll create a lot of moments of kind of, oh yeah, right, okay. Scott Alberston, Scott, I'll just call you Scott. Thank you, Scott, for your lovely intro on your show recently, and all about Dash, and you know, what was the song? It was about something, I'll give $1 for a dime, or something like that, about the jukebox and everything like that. Very nice voice, Scott. If you haven't seen the show, do go and see it. It's just spreading joy and happiness around, and it's all about sort of animals and helping animals and welfare with whales, and you know, there's a bird sanctuary as well and stuff like that. And there was a dog sanctuary, as far as I can remember. There was a birthday of Lucy, I think it was, or something like that. But anyway, lovely to see you here, Scott. Thanking you very much for being here. Always a joy to see you. Bettina, thank you. Saturday will be lovely for us dancers, Danes too. What's Danes? Oh, Danes is in Danish. Right, okay, yeah, Kate, yeah. It's way past my bedtime. Is it really? Is it really past your bedtime? Maybe I can mix it up as well on the hours to try and help it. Like 1 week's doing it so it's easier for some other people to see the lives and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, once I get settled into the new place and the studio set up all the time, it'd be brilliant. Because at the moment I've got to set it up, take it down, set it up, take it down. It's a bit complicated. As anyone doing a sort of YouTube studio will understand. yeah, this energy that's coming through, and it will be coming through over the next couple of days, it will consume that air. So I would go from idea to action this week, but being passionate about what you're doing. If you find it difficult to do that, if you don't engage with your passions, I think you may find it a little bit frustrating. So you've got to be wary of that. You may find that this fire just eats at you a little bit. So, as I say, it doesn't matter what you're doing, even if it's the most simplest of things, being passionate about kind of taking your dog down to the beach, go for a walk down at the beach, whatever it is, it's like the engagement is in general life. And I think this is going to become more and more important rather than looking at kind of going, I'm going to create this company that's going to rule the world. It's more of a case of kind of going, I'm going to engage myself in life, in my everyday life, and then be passionate about my everyday life. And the more we can do that, the more we can actually change a great deal. You will still have your sort of like projects and goals and big goals and everything like that you want to sort of complete. And I think you will be able to manifest those things a lot simpler or a lot easier if we concentrate on the simpler things, which I went into in another sort of video and stuff like that. So I think that's really gonna sort of like kick this week off in a very sort of passionate thing. I'm not sure if that's going to continue for a great deal of time. It's a real sort of an injection at the moment that will help us to propel us all forward in whatever we're doing. And I'll have to have a look at the sun. You'll get it in the messages from Energy that come out on Wednesday as well. So, I wanted to talk about that just so it's to give you an idea of the sort of things that are going on the weekly readings and why it's important to sort of know where your fires lay within you, because in each sign, the fire is in a different place, for fire signs, obviously it's going to be at the surface. But if you took Aries, for example, you've got a lot of fire that's running through you as well. So, I think it'd be very good for Aries. Just don't get too fiery. All right. Okay. So yeah, there was that. Now, going back, I was going to sort of say, I wanted to talk about several things I wanted to talk about. There was a question that someone asked last week. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to go back to. Suli, your question that was the other week that I didn't answer last week, really, because you weren't, you were busy. I see you sort of knocking about here, so I thought I'd better answer it now. It was all about what is the Akashic Library doing in the center of the earth, and why is it only a smaller one, things like that, and how is it sort of like generated and everything like that. And for me, the main Akashic Library is, I find it in the sun, in the vortex in the middle of the sun, in the what is equivalent of the portal in the middle of the sun. That's where the main Akashic Library is. And the one that's being created in the center of the earth, as far as I can tell, and this is what I understand in the way of mechanics of it all, it is a library of souls that, after the changing, the changes that we are going to be going through, this planet is going to be going through, this solar system, which is already going through, to do with pole shift and everything like that, in the next sort of 5 to 10 years, it means that there'll always be a library that you can rebuild the reincarnation system upon. That's as far as I can, that's the understanding of the mechanics of it. So basically it's pulling in certain souls that will help to carry enough of the information of the story of the human being into the new dimension, as it were. So this sort of like mini library, it's almost like, it's like you know how you get like library buses that go around and stuff like that. It's a little bit like that. So yeah, I just saw your question come up there, Jane. Yeah, we'll go into that in 2 seconds. Let me just finish. I'll finish the thing on the Akashic Library, And it's setting up that sort of situation. So when we pass away, in this life here, or when our bodies cease to exist, you know, at that point there, we collect in our guides together, or our guides come in and help us to get out of the body. And then we can go to the Akashic Library, we can do the review of this life, make sure all our paperwork is in order, and then we can put our information of that life into the Akashic Library so we can accumulate a human understanding, collective human understanding. So you sort of go through this sort of like the Earth sort of Akashic Library, and the administrators kind of start saying, okay, yeah, you can flow on to the sun, don't worry about it. You'll have to stay here, put your book over there, and stuff like that. And it's, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, only people like Einstein and Machiavelli or whatever, you know what I mean, will be in the Akashic Library. That's not how it works, because the human experience is also, you know, what we are living. It's not just the, you know, the excellence in one field or another. There's a lot of things that come into that. So this Akashic Library is a little bit like that, because the sun is being affected by the galactic plane, as it were, as we move from negative charge to positive charge within the, you know, going through the galactic plane. And that's what pole shift's all about. And that can really, you know, you can get sort of micronovas coming off the sun and stuff like that. You know, don't ever be scared about any of this stuff, because there's no point. You know, a soul cannot be, your spirit can never be destroyed by any of this. Your body maybe, but not your spirit, okay? And everything goes on. It's really beautiful to, it's all part and parcel of the experience of the whole universe as well. You know, that's why I think there's an Akashic Library being built in that section there. It's almost like a safeguard that if the main Akashic Library goes, we still have something to rebuild upon, that we can then filter back into the sun and etc. and recreate that reincarnation system. I hope that sort of like answered your question, Suli. You know, and so yeah, there was so Jane, because you asked that question about whether the you know, the solar flare. And I looked at the earthquake swarm in Nevada. A lot of earthquakes, actually. Yeah, it's very interesting to see that, and all very much in the same sort of place. Whether it was being affected by that satellite that's coming through, or that comet, or whatever or spaceship, or whatever you want to call it, because major people talking about different things. Pleasure, Saul. It's lovely. And you know, you're asking whether, you know, whether that was Lynn. How you doing? Lovely to see you. How it, you know, how was that thing affecting the sun, making it flare, and was it creating those earthquakes in Nevada? First things first. The solar flares transfers of energy and information to the Earth. Yes, it does. Basically, if you imagine you've got a spinning plate, which is the Earth, and occasionally the sun will send out a vibration or a flare towards the Earth, which will charge the dynamo of the interior, the plasma ball in the center of the Earth, in order to keep it spinning. It's constantly doing that. Does it transfer information? Yeah, you know, it does in a planetary sort of sense. It doesn't sort of send through information kind of going, Mr. John Smith there at 42 Acacia Drive is doing something wrong. Better keep an eye on him. It's not that sort of information, but it's much more of an information on a planetary sort of thing. And it keeps the Earth in its balance and in its place, in its orbit. Because if you imagine, the sun does have a huge, enormous magnetic field that creates a gravity towards the sun. And in theory, that should pull all the planets into the sun, and it doesn't. And this is because you get waves of gravity that come out of the sun that cross over, they have crossing points, and that helps to fix planets in positions with this crossing over, this vibration that comes out. So it transfers this information, it does transfer information across to the Earth without shadow of doubt. And it depends on the type of flare that's also coming through, whether it's an eruption from a filament NMG or from a coronal hole. Coronal hole is much more Earth orientated vibration. I'm not talking about the planet, I'm talking about the element here. Filament energy is water. Solar flare is fire energy, and then you get the air energy, which is created in the things that go around it. Can you energetically read? Is it 31 Atlas? Is that what it's called, Shelley? Okay, yeah, I can, and I'm going to, but not. I don't want to do it tonight because I'm not prepared. I'd like to know personally a little bit more information about it. I've been sort of keeping an eye on it over the past week through sort of seeing what's going on. And yeah, I would like to do, I think I'm going to do a live maybe on Tuesday. I'll try and do a live on Tuesday where about Suli, about it's 31. Is it 3I or 31 Atlas or Atlas or whatever it is comet, because it is incredibly strange. And then we had that other comet as well. We also had that other comet that came through a couple of years ago. You remember? And it's like that was like the Scout comet, and this is the real thing that's coming through. Because it's let's just get back to whether it was affecting the sun and making it flare. I wouldn't say so, no. I would say that it's more the alignment between Earth, the sun, and Mercury, because they were lined up pretty much at that time, as far as I could tell. And I think that's what caused the solar flare more than anything else. And I think there is a message that we can understand here. I think that the message that's coming through here is obviously coming from Mercury, that's playing through the sun, and then the sun is conveying it to the Earth. So there is that information as well, Jane, that does come through that we can take as a personal level. And I think it's sort of saying, the message was sort of saying, now is the time to get engaged. Now is the time to follow your passions. Now is the time to follow it through. Do not think that a system of governance are going to look after. They're not looking after you. No one's looking after you. Do not believe that they're looking after you. They're not. As far as I can tell, they're not. They're in it for their own gain, and they're in it for other people's gains. They're not looking after the general people. And I think we will be the saviors of ourselves in a way, or we will be the drivers of the new world, as it were. Okay. Mercury, the messenger, exactly. So this is where we come on to that comet. Okay, so 31 Atlas, I think it's 31 Atlas, that's actually coming just past, it's between Mars and Earth at the moment, but it's actually behind the Earth. And to project a magnetic field into the trail of the Earth, because the Earth is a little bit like a comet going around the sun, and its magnetic field is being pulled behind it, and the satellite, or that 31 Atlas, is behind it, to produce or to project something that's going to affect the Earth would be very difficult, because you're going to have to project in front of it so it gets taken into the magnetic field of the Earth. So when you get planets that are in front of the Earth, that's when it affects the Earth a lot more than when they're behind the Earth in a magnetic sense. So if you're talking about at the moment, Mars is right behind Earth, so it's not good for wars and stuff like that. And it doesn't seem like, they're finding it very difficult to maintain certain wars at the moment. So, and it's a good idea that we can just stop doing all of that malarkey. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't think it was that was doing the Nevada thing. I think it was more in the lines of an echoing that's coming off one of the energetic lines, which goes all the way up the spine of America on the west coast, goes up through the Andes, up through the Rockies and so forth, and then goes across Alaska and then comes back down there. So the I stands for interstellar. Ah, right, Ken. Lovely to see you, Ken. So it's the three interstellar atlas. Okay, lovely. Yeah. So do I think it's an alien craft? Now, I wanted to do this on Tuesday because if you think about this, right, intelligent life form, right, you're watching this either on a computer, a television, an iPad or telephone, and like your house and like your car, at some point, that thing you're watching this live upon was dust in a mine somewhere. It was just bits of earth, okay, that we transformed into a computer or into a telephone or into an iPad or whatever it is, or a television, or whatever you're watching this upon. So we did that transformation, that sort of alchemistic sort of transformation between powder of earth into something that's that we can use, that's electrical. And this is what some of the tablets, the emerald tablet of top was all about a little bit as well. And if you imagine this rock, because that's what they were saying is, this is what I wanted to investigate as well, because it's actually doing a lot of, is it nickel that's coming out or something like that that's coming out of it, which is not normal. That is a similar sort of thing about how the sun and hydrogen reacts with itself and the nickel gets forced out. I think it's nickel. I need to do a bit of investigation on that. It's the third interstellar visitor, apparently. Oh, right, okay. So that makes sense for the 3i. Just reminds me of a nightclub. I used to go to this jazz nightclub down in London when I was a young man at the age of 13, 14. I should love jazz. I still do, but and it used to be called the 3i's. So maybe there's something in that. Maybe they're all jazz fanatics on there. But anyway, getting back to that satellite. If you imagine, if you're traveling across space and you have a block of Earth, nickel. It is nickel. It is. I thought it was nickel. It's if you imagine you've got this block of material, yeah, like your body is a block of material. If you're intelligent enough, all of a sudden you could transform that material into a spaceship and into the beings that could be on that spaceship. I know it's a massive leap, but if you understand what I'm talking about, where we can play with material in order to create something instantaneously. Now that, for me, would show very high degrees of consciousness and intelligence from the beings that are traveling across space, because you set off and then you transform all the molecules back into Earth. So it just becomes a rock traveling through space. And when you get to a place, you just need to kind of bling and change it back into a spaceship and beings. Now that is very possible. That's why I wanted to do a bit of investigation. And in order to do that, I need to go into the Earth, from the Earth into the sun, and from the sun, I can go and see what's going on with that thing in full level. At the moment, the only thing I am getting off it is rock, as it were, rock or ice and stuff like that. I'm not getting like a spaceship as such. But I understand that, we live in a multiverse in a way. And if you go, and someone's talking about this as well, talking to other planets and getting messages from other planets and stuff like that. And I've done that a lot in the past. And if you go to, say, like Jupiter, the beings on Jupiter, and it's not like, people living in housing estates, it's a bit different. It's much more on an energetic level. It's like, a school of administration. That's the best way to describe it. But it has a degree of consciousness that is very matter of fact. There's no messing about. There's no joking or laughing. It's very organized and everything like that. Sorry, I just saw the message from Jane as well. Still reeling from the 8 earthquakes. Yeah, which was all to do with that corona hole that came through on the sun. That's corona holes create earthquakes on the Earth much more than solar flares. Solar flares tend to create earthquakes around about 2 to 3 days after the flare, because it's a very much more higher pitched vibration that takes time for it to vibrate to the surface, whereas the coronal hole energy is like, it's just like brute force, and it just creates, when it comes into alignment, that's when we get huge, big earthquakes. And when the corona hole goes out of alignment, the other side of the corona hole, when it comes out of alignment to the Earth, it then creates earthquakes again. So we get these sort of like 2-phase earthquake sort of scenario going on with corona holes. And you can get I was even thinking about sort of betting on it, on corona holes and earthquakes and stuff like that, just for a laugh, just to sort of prove it. But yeah, so the thing is, with the only thing that really throws everything out is, I'm glad you find it fascinating, Shirley. Life is fascinating, isn't it? This is it. If we're prepared to talk about things without, I can't say I get every single thing right, because that would be amazing. I am 99.9% right, of course, all the time. You ask my kids. I'm only joking. But between us, we are the solution. We will find the solutions. We have the solutions within us. But discussing it and openly discussing it without, and openly sort of like taking on each idea seriously, rather than just kind of going, you know what I mean? You have to look at everything before you can sort of like get the best results out of everything. So, the only thing that really throws me out is this nickel thing, and the fact that it doesn't have like a, I forgot what it's called now. The plumes that come out the back of a thing. 2 stellar flares let off lots of microwaves, from what I can gather from his last video. Stefan Byrne, yeah, it will do. It will do. That's just every single time. It's constantly doing that. It's like there's lots of water when it rains. It will do. You're going to get microwaves, you're going to get radio waves, you're going to get X-rays, you're going to get, multitudes of different things that come out of flares. Thinking, corona, what, are you having a beer? No, I'm only joking. Flares, lots of microwaves. Corona. So it comes off from the corona of what? Of the solar flare. Is that what? I'm not sure what that is, KM. Do you believe that the solar flares will trigger the earthquakes in South America or Antarctica that you mentioned about, that's happening in the next sort of like 2 to 3 weeks? I think it's going to be part of it, yeah. Yes, I think it will be part of it. I think I think what's going on with the Earth at the moment, and the pole shift factor in the Earth, I think it's a combination of a multitude of different things. But primarily, I think it's the Earth actually radiating more than the solar flares. But the solar flares could actually the solar flares can actually trigger a lot that's already resonating out from the Earth, as it were, so it can heighten things. And I think this is where it's going to be heightening the. I would say there's going to be more earthquakes in sort of in the Filipino plate, and I think the volcanic thing I think is much more going to be in that Alaskan ridge section with the Russian thing, and also in Ethiopia. I think that's going to be the main three things that are going on for it. At the moment, for earthquakes in that sort of side, I'm not so sure about that. It's good to learn and discuss. Anomalously, readings from. Oh right, okay. So this is the corona that comes off of 3i Atlas. Yeah, the microwaves that are coming off of it. Yeah, because it's a big piece of rock. You're going to have elements in there that are going to be radiating a lot of stuff, and it could literally just be a piece of rock. So as I say, I need to do a full investigation on that, and I will have time to do that this week here. And also I'm going to be doing something on the eclipses as well that will be coming up as well. But the microwaves that are coming off it, I'm not sure how they're measuring that. You can measure it, I guess, through light and emission from it, different sort of light that comes off it. But you haven't got any sort of like anything gathering any real time data from there at the moment. So the 3i Atlas thing, the thing is, I don't know if you remember about Hail Bob. Do you remember anything about Hail Bob? For young people, you may not remember this, but back in the 90s, we had Hail Bob that came through, which was all to do with the Mayan calendar and the blue star and the red star and stuff like that. And yeah, there is a certain degree of truth within all of that, but we do see a lot of repeating themes coming to the surface. You're kind of going, I've heard this all before, 3 or 4 times. And, it's like, it's like the ascension thing. You hear it a lot and it happens loads and everything like that. And apparently, there's a window opening where everybody can leave the earth at some point, and it doesn't really happen. And, there's always a lot of that sort of chatter. That's why I don't want to look too much on the internet about it, because I don't want to dirty the channeling that I want to do this week on it. But I can understand that there could well be. You'll get memories from where that rock comes from. That's what you can read. So basically, let me give you another idea here. Okay, so when you give your birth, so this is, people talk about cellular memory and then they try and tie it back to previous lives. And I don't think that's possible. I'll tell you why. Simply because your cells comes from the earth. You will get certain memories that come back from a stream that is within the family you are born into. And yeah, there may be certain effects that you will be receiving from that family's history, but that may be the only first time or the only time that you get reincarnated within that family. So their history doesn't really matter that much. But what is their history is doing is helping you to, the reason you're born to that family is to have an experience that family can offer you because of their history. So you choose to be born into that family to have, because that family will provide that type of experience. But ultimately, when you live your life, the memories that you store within your cells are not for you. Your memory is all stored within your electromagnetic field, which is called your aura and your chakras. Okay, but the cells that are within your body, it's a record. So the Earth, the planet itself, knows what humans are doing with the material, with the Earth, the material Earth. So when we give our body back to the earth, regardless of what it is, even if you go through cremation, or if you're buried, or even if you go out to sea, you're buried at sea, whichever way it is, doesn't matter air, earth or sea, it's always the earth. Doesn't matter what it is. Your cells are then going to be read by planet Earth, and Mother Earth is going to kind of go, okay, so that's what the humans are doing with it. So if you're getting this rock coming through our solar system, this is what I want to channel. You should be able to get a bit of a history of the cells that created that rock, if you know what I mean. So you may get a history of where the solar system or wherever that rock came from, and that's when you can then start sort of saying, is there souls attached to it and what have you. And that's possible where we can, get a lot of things, a lot of information through all of that sort of things. Frisia, awesome. I was going to ask regarding the eclipse and blood moon on the 7th of September. Well, the eclipses, and this is the funny thing, I'm going to be doing an eclipse because we had the eclipses at the beginning of the year in March, and we're having the two eclipses that are coming up. We always have the lunar and the solar eclipse. They come together in two pairs, and it's phenomenal where they're happening and why they're happening and so forth. And I do this every time. I correlate them with the chakras of the earth and the energy lines that I've got on my map from the earth and so forth. And it ties in. It's really weird, but it does tie in ultimately with the messages from energy and the weekly readings that I'm talking about this week. It's like the eclipses. This is where we could get the conscious shift. Is the eclipses are really setting the tone about how we go about engaging in life in the near future. Really quite amazing. And I will be doing two particular videos, well, at least one particular video, maybe doing two on that during the week, Frisia, about the eclipses, both the solar and the lunar, the blood moon eclipse. Okay. Thought it was only emitting carbon dioxide, which is not usual for comets according to NASA. This is the problem, Jane. There's so much stuff out there that there's this bloke from Harvard, I think it's Harvard or Princeton University, he was talking about the nickel and everything like that. So this is why there's a lot of different stuff that's coming out there that I think we need to get, I want to get in there with a clear view without it being polluted, so I can understand what's going on. And I just haven't had the time to do it this week. But I will be doing it next week. And I'd quite like to do that in a live, if we're all up for that. I think that'd be quite fun. You say you've been getting weird downloads this weekend for sure. Okay. Well, that could all have to do with that air energy, that intuition side of things, and getting a lot of understanding and clarity of what is going on in the world, as it were, around you. Excuse me, I just need to sit myself a little bit easier. And I'll tell you what I am going to do as well, which I completely forgot about. And that is, I'm going to grab my cup of tea. So yeah, I can understand the weird sort of downloads and stuff like that. Let me just put the camera straight again. Yeah, I can understand you getting a lot of things. And I did talk about it in the weekly readings loads, about being very attentive to your intuition and so forth. And that's that air energy. And that's been accumulating over the weekend, and it's been building and building. And I think this is where that flare energy that's coming through, the fire energy that's coming through on Monday, it's like igniting the touch paper, and that's going to make those intuition side of things just go and flying off and really getting into it. So just booked yesterday. I've been given a scuba diving and underwater photography presentation in New York City on the October the 25th. Second, this is from Scott, by the way. 35 years of scuba diving in New York City waters. Wow, I bet that's quite amazing. To Australia and Fuji and Hawaii and Mexico. Excellent. I'd love to see that. My friend, I've got a really good friend. She was a camera woman for the Big Blue, is it? You know, the BBC thing on that. She does a lot of underwater filming. Amazing person. Yeah, so that's great. That's very good for you, Scott. Absolutely brilliant. Can sing everybody a tune. My dreams have definitely stepped up lately. My daughter, and I did do a video one day with her on there, and she will be coming into my videos at some point. She's really intuitive. It's very funny when I was when she was about sort of 7 or 8. She came up to me. I was sitting down. I forgot what I was doing. I was doing something. And she came next to me and she just leant forward and whispered in my ear. She said, "Don't worry, Dad. When you're no longer here, I'll take over your, I'll continue the work that you've started." She was only 7 or 8. You know what I mean? She's an incredibly intuitive person. And she's been having some amazing dreams over the past like 3 or 4 days. And she keeps telling me about them and everything like that. She's not 7 and 8 anymore, obviously. But yeah, I can imagine dreams being quite a big thing at the moment. I'm either lucky or unlucky. I don't really dream. I don't remember my dreams a lot. I think that's because I'm living every day with my eyes fully open. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's other reasons for it as well. But I've gone from very shy person to going to a spiritual church circle. So it was do you know, Julie? I got you confused with another Julie. I do apologise. So yeah, okay. So you've gone to this church. Excellent. On Matod. Do you know what? I used to do the same thing. Living up in when I grew up in London, I used to go to this corrugated iron church in the middle of in the back streets of London somewhere, and a spiritual church like that when I was a kid. Loved it. So I hope you're having a good time doing that. Signing up for an energy course and a mediumship course. Excellent. The more we can discover about energy, the better it is. Yeah, well, exactly, Julie. Shirley. Yeah, it's amazing, Julie. Funny enough, I have got a workshop sort of really penciled in down in Brighton. Okay, for the 11th and the 12th of October. So if anyone wants to go on the workshop that I've got down in Brighton on the 11th and the 12th of October, send me an email. I should have all the information being released next week where you can start booking up places next week. I'm also getting a date finalised for towards Glastonbury area for the the 28th of October or something like that, something towards the end of October. So if you want to go on those workshops, I got 2 there. Unfortunately, the person who wanted to organise something in Oxford didn't follow through. If you've got a place anywhere in the UK that you've got like 10 people or more who want to do a workshop, I'm willing to come. It'd be great. I love doing workshops, really do. It's the best thing in the world. You see people's kundalini just opening up, and they connect to a lot of things that they never connected to before, and it's absolutely brilliant. I really enjoy it. So I hope you enjoy your weekend, Julie. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. I know that you're going to love it. So do enjoy on your workshop. Yeah, there was some other one who'd left a comment in the weekly readings. I forgot their name, unfortunately. It was all to do with fascial contraction, which is all to do with muscle and joint pain. And I wanted to do a healing session, so we could do a healing session live, so I could go through what I'm looking at and what I'm, how I'm dealing with that sort of situation. But unfortunately, I haven't seen the person on here, and I don't want to do it unless they were up for it. We could do that another night and do the healing and everything like that, and so I can explain everything that sort of goes through all of that sort of thing. But yes, Yeah, I think you will absolutely love it. You know, getting involved with energy at the moment is the only way to go forward, because it's going to be the biggest point of interaction that we have, because we're going to start understanding it a lot more as we go forward. Long way away, but always a travel lodge. Think Brighton closest. Uh, yeah, you. I think you're up north, aren't you, Julie? So yeah, it might be a long way for you to come. But you know, if anybody's interested on that, as I say, for the 11th, I think it's the 11th, the 12th of October, down in Brighton, which is the workshop which I call The Source. It's your connection to energy and how energy is created, redistributed across the universe, across the earth, and through you. It's a fantastic workshop. I've been doing it for years, and I've done it for thousands of people already, and I know everybody absolutely really loves it. But anyway, yeah, that's really good. There was one other sort of question that I wanted to go through, but I can't remember which one it was about that. Yeah. Yeah, there was another question. I can't remember what the actual question was about. It was something about sort of like, does it help being on an energy line, ley line, to connect to the energies and stuff like that? And it's you can connect to energy anywhere. It doesn't matter. But when I'm doing like the messages from energy, so I also do these sort of collective meditations. I haven't done them for some time because I'm had a lot of movement in my life, and I've moved from France really to the UK a lot. But I used to do collective meditations where we could all go and visit the center of the earth, and we can all go together and visit the sun and stuff like that. An amazing thing. And you know, sometimes it was quite a way away from the crossing point where the energies cross and create that vortex, because where the energies cross, they always go down to the center of that plasma ball in the center of the earth. And you know, it's a lot easier for me to do because it takes a bit more sort of time to elevate, to come above, to find the nearest crossing point, to go to that crossing point and everything like that. So to do the messages from energy, I always do on a line, and often by churches or by sort of other places, just because it doesn't take so long to get to the vortex point and everything like that. So it just helps for everybody who's watching as well. So it goes a lot easier. But generally, no, you can connect to energy no matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are. And you know, dowsing. I've even been dowsing in planes and stuff like that. You know, getting the energies in planes. That is a weird experience as well. You know, I enjoy visiting the Akashic Library when you do those. Yeah, I love it. The Akashic Library is a beautiful place. Just got to know what you're looking for. Don't go there. Don't go to the Akashic Library saying, I want to know what life is for, because they'll literally just get the library and dump it on your head, you know, and you won't be able to understand a thing. You got to be very precise when you go to the Akashic Library. You know, it's like searching on the internet, just sort of kind of going, tell me what I need to know. You know, that's, if you put that into Google, it'd be a bit too much. If you're much more precise, the Akashic Library is the ultimate place to go for all information, in accordance to us, you know, and the human experience, basically, and you know, our collective human experience. But yeah, the Akashic Library is an amazing place with some beautiful characters and people that are running it as well, not just the people who, you know, the souls that are contributing to its construction. That's absolutely brilliant. Chrissy G. Okay, was listening to Dolores Cannon video about Australia being the safest place after the 5D shift, mainly due to its high crystalline energy and the least human trauma held in the earth there. I wouldn't agree with that personally, because you're not going to get away from the geological aspect of the shift. And I think there is very particular places. That's why I've got my bolt hole in the Pyrenees and stuff like that. You also have, that's why, for example, Ben from Suspicious Observers has hunkered down in the Valley of the Sun, which is just to the other side of the Rocky Mountains. I think it's the Rocky Mountains there. Australia, there is certain points in Australia which would be good. The Australian energy that is the solar plexus of the Earth, and the rocks down there, or the I keep getting the name wrong, and I thought I had it then. Ururus. You'll be able to tell me. The famous rocks that are down there. The history that or the folklore behind it. It was a little bit like Noah, where it was the sanctuary where we went through the last shift, and the waters rose, and all the animals and all the people gathered on top of the rocks, and they were saved by being on that rock. And then when the waters went down, they can then go back and live upon the earth, as it were. And as much as I like the idea of crystalline energy and everything like that, the thing is, there's a particular type of crystal that is in the earth, like we could talk about another time. Unfortunately, it's getting a bit late to talk about it now, but there's another crystal that's in the earth that's much more electromagnetically susceptible, and then you find it across the entire globe. And I think that's the main sort of thing. Yeah, Ayers Rock. I knew it as Ayers Rock, but the traditional name for it is Ulgus, I think, or something like that. Uluru, that's right, Cole. It is Uluru. Thank you very much. Uluru. Okay. So true. Maybe the author thought because it was the furthest away from everything else. Yeah, I've got a great deal of respect for Dolores. She amazing. But at the same time, it's like if you put a crystal in front of your house to protect your house from a mountain of granite behind you. I think you're asking a lot of that crystal to protect your house from a granite mountain. I think we've got to be realistic as well. I think there's limits to what those sort of things. It's nice ideas, and it's great. It helps to stimulate ideas, and it helps to stimulate desires and stuff like that. That's why Hollywood sells big films like that. It's looking at the impossible, or that sort of thing. And I'm very much more of a person that's very much more sort of down to earth, which is a bit weird in considering all the things I get involved with. And I don't think it's, no, I wouldn't say personally, I wouldn't say it's the most safest place. If anything, I would say it was not. I would say it was one of the least, but that's due to geological rather than anything else. So, Uluru, that's right, Cole, Uluru, yeah. So, and it's got a great deal of folklore about it. And I did a huge investigation into the Australian Aboriginals, because Aboriginal means just like the people who originally lived there. And their folklores and their song lines and a lot of things that they do and their histories and their, their myths and everything like that. Amazing set of people, as much as the Native American Indians. Say Indians, they're not Native Americans. We should really say that more than anything else, I guess. And they have amazing sort of myths and understandings and so forth. And Urulu is what the name of the rock is. Thank you very much for that. Since I began tuning into spiritual podcasts not too long ago, this comes from Soli. The buzzword was ascension, and now it is shifted to shift. What do you think? The next trend will be? I think the next trend will be ascension. Then the following week it'll be shift. I've been in that type of world now for 30 odd years. I've seen them come, go, come back again, go again, come back again, go again. And the ascension thing is, I have a lot of issues with how it's presented. A lot of issues with it. And, the shift as well, that came back, and, that was also back when we had 2012 as well. So I think these are sort of things that I think they're fashion and fads. They're good for selling videos and stuff like that, I think, more than anything else. Personally, that's my own personally, sort of understanding about it. And there's a lot of empty promises in that realms, and we've seen it recently. There's been an explosion of that ascension thing. And there's a lot of people who are very disappointed with what they've been promised. And, that's the end times. It's all about sort of empty promises from false prophets, So, I think it's more, I put in that thing about a shift in consciousness, because that's the best word to describe it. I think a shift is going to be common sense. I thought it would be common sense. Yeah, I'd go for that. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Every day of the week, City. Common sense. The common sense revolution. That's what we're doing, and that's what we're part of. And that's what we're creating. And the best way to create that is by being on your pathway, of being consciously engaged in your pathway. That's when the common sense comes to the fore. And that is going to be the new currency of the future. Respect and common sense, as far as I can tell, absolutely brilliant. I'd like to thank, we're sort of getting close to sort of like going up for an hour and a half. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. It's been absolutely brilliant, as per usual. And the conversation and the openness of the conversation at the Astroflower is absolutely beautiful to see as well. And I thank you all for being part of that. We've got to be open to every idea. Every idea needs to be examined and cross-examined by everybody, so we can all come up with our own sort of understanding of the situation. I think that's the best way to do it, because common sense is exactly that. It's common sense. Because it belongs to everybody. It's sense that belongs to everyone. And that's a good description of consciousness. In 2020, this comes from Chrissy G. Hi, Chrissy G. You asked a question earlier on. You were saying earlier on about Dolores Cannon. Sorry. So 2020, I had a vivid dream of the world as a collective given 3 choices: move on to the next phase, stay rooted in the present, or just cease to continue. The imagery was amazing. Do you know what? That's what ascension is. And ascension doesn't happen by it happens at the end of your life, of this body, not the end of the life of the spirit. So you finish this life here, you either stay within this reincarnation system, which is talking about staying in the present, or you say, do you know what? I'm moving out of this reincarnation system and moving into another one, which is because I understand this reincarnation system and I've done my exams. I've come to my full understanding, and I need to go on to something else to understand things. And that's that going forward sort of thing. The third thing is, and I cease to continue, I would say more that it's like retaking your exams, going back to the beginning. And I think that's the third option, but I would totally agree with that. That sort of thing, Chrissy. It is that whole idea of, whole idea of those options. And I think that comes back into that Dolores canon sort of idea that the earth is splitting into two earths. It's not doing that in a physical sense, and this is where this is where the confusion starts. This is a metaphysical idea. And this is what we need to understand, that there is a difference between the world of energy and the world of material. And the two worlds are linked like the yin and the yang. There's a great difference between yin and there's a great difference between yang, but they need one another to exist. And you can't separate the two. And I think here is more of a case here that the separation from one world to another is just people that are going through the Akashic Library and sort of saying, okay, this is my last entry. I'm not being reincarnated here again. I'm moving on to the next stage, or I'm going back to the beginning, or I'm staying here. And I totally agree with that. So, appreciate you too, Chrissy. Lovely to see you here. Really nice, absolutely beautiful. It's lovely to see everybody, man. It's always an absolute joy. When I get myself set up from this week in my new place, I would like to do some of these lives where we can do it through Zoom, so we can see each other and we can actually have a, straight, open, a live conversation, physical conversation. I think it would be absolutely brilliant. I think we'll find a lot of solutions to a lot of the problems in the world, or a lot of solutions to a lot of situations in the world. So, very much appreciate everybody being here. It's such a joy to see all your comments and everything like that. It's absolutely beautiful. So, as always, a great connection with you all. Thank you, Lynn. Yes, beautiful to see you here. Lovely to see you being here as well. Yeah, absolutely lovely. Thank you very much, Lynn. Hope it's going well for you in, I think you were in Australia, weren't you? So, good morning. Frisia, would be great to meet your daughter with you on one of these lives. Have a great week. Yeah, Eva is, I just said her name, she just turned around there. She's just like, okay, she's looking at me as if to sort of say, what's she talking about me for? Yeah. The people are asking whether you want to come onto the live at some point. Oh no, she's running in now. That's it. She's a photo bomber. Don't get her involved. Whatever you do, don't get her involved. People would just sort of say, I'm on the live at the moment, and they were just sort of saying, it'd be great to see you back on the live at some point. Would you come on the live at some point? Yeah? She loves it. Don't you? Absolutely brilliant. She loves it. We go dowsing together. She's very good at dowsing and stuff like that as well. So yeah, she'll be coming on the lives at some point. There is no doubt about it, won't you? Yeah. Cool. Excellent. You know what I mean? Do you want to say hello to everyone quickly before you go? This is my daughter, by the way. Let me just move out the way.
Hello.
So that's the world there. There's lots of people from lots of different places across the world. We're all coming together in good common sense. It's absolutely fantastic. So Frisia says hello. Julie says hello. Mint, go for it. Yeah, totally. She'll come on it. And it'd be good as well, as I said, doing it maybe on Zoom where we can all talk to one another. I think that'd be really good. I'll try and get that organised and sorted out. Lynn says hi, by the way, from Australia. I just thought I'd sort of say, I'll leave you to it. We'll speak later on. Okay. Yes, so fantastic. Always good to do the live. possibly doing it on Saturday next week. And I will be set in our new place where we got a lovely, beautiful energy line that travels straight through the front room. Absolutely fantastic. So, yes, lovely to see you all. Thanking you very much for being here. She has your light. I bloody hope not, because otherwise I can't be able to see anything. You know what I mean? But she has her own light, man. She has her own light. She's quite a she's very interesting. Yeah. Obviously she's my daughter, but that aside, she's a really good soul. She's a really good soul. Lovely to see her. So I'll pass all your messages. She's now wandered off. But yeah, in the new place, she will be coming on occasionally, I should have thought. Okay. Yes. I'd like to thank you all for being here. Thank you very much for being part of the Astroflower family. Also, one thing I'd like to say as well is that, when it does get busy, and it's really beautiful to see, people jumping in and joining in the comments. There was someone who commented on Capricorn this week about a country singer and following his great-grandmother in country singing. And if you're watching this, do it, my friend. Don't hold back. There's no time like the present, and there ain't going to be time like the present in the future. It's just, I would say go ahead and do it, my friend. So, it's good to see other people jumping in as well on the comments as well, to sort of, because we're all here to help each other out, and we'll all together we will find the solutions. So, yes, thanking you all very much for being here. Really do appreciate it. All the engagement that you do and everything like that. And together we will find all the solutions, Kyan, thanking you very much for being here as well. Lynn, Coral, Jane, Chrissy, Sully, Shirley, Scott, Julie, everybody, thanking you very much for being here. If I've missed anyone, I do apologise. Bettina as well, thanking you all for being here. It's been absolutely a joy. I'll see you again next week. In the meantime, all that's left for me to say is don't forget, life should be fun. No matter how serious it gets, life should be fun. So please, do enjoy. Okay? Ciao for now.